We'll kick it off with the markets. It's the last day of the quarter. The S&P hitting that all-time record high. April has been the best performing month of the year since 1950. Are we ready for another leg up in the markets? Jim Rogers is the chairman of Rogers Holdings, and he joins us this morning, I believe, on the Newsline. Jim, good morning.
I'm delighted to be here, Carl. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Finally got this albatross out of the way in terms of these technical levels. A lot of bears argue good reasons not to participate in Q2. What do you think?
Well, it is very artificial, I must say. If you give me $1 trillion, Carl, I'll show you a good time, too. And a lot of people are having a good time. I'm somewhat skeptical because I know it's going to end badly.
Let's center on U.S. People point to typical seasonality, not that great going into the springtime. Big components like GE diverging from the broader index. Cyprus, even though near-term uncertainty might be lifted, still a lot of questions about Italy and bank deposits. Would your preference be to stay stateside or not?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm certainly not investing in the U.S. because the U.S. is making all-time highs based on, money printing. As far as I'm concerned, I'd rather put my money. I have money. I've bought Russia recently. Russia's certainly not near an all-time high, Carl. Japan I own. Japan is not near an all-time high. The whole world's benefiting from all this money being printed, but there are better places than the all-time high, if you ask me.
Yeah. What's your appetite on Europe at these levels?
No, I'm not. I own Swiss francs. I own a few shares in Europe that I've owned for 15 or 20 years. But no, I'm certainly not buying there. I mean, it's pretty scary what's going on in Europe when they start taking money out of people's bank accounts. I, for one, am making sure I don't have too much money in any single bank account anywhere in the world now, because now there's a precedent, Carl. The IMF has said, sure, loot the bank accounts. EU has said loot the bank accounts. So you can be sure that other countries, when the problems come, are going to say, well, it's condoned by the EU, it's condoned by the IMF, let's do it too.
Have you personally made moves, Jim, where you were a large depositor and you said, get me under the insurance cap?
Well, I'm not rich enough to be a large depositor anywhere, Carl. I'm not like you. But, yes, I have started the process in a couple of countries in Europe already. It's underway to make sure that I have under the guarantee amount. And everybody should do the same thing, too, because they're going to go like crazy the next time around.
Yeah. Now, there is this discussion that we've had this week, obviously, about whether or not this is truly a template, as the Dutch say. They've tried to walk that back, Jim. What do you think is true? I mean, is Cyprus a special case, or might we expect a similar strategy to take effect in a larger country, if need be?
It's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen, Carl. Now the IMF has condoned it. The EU's condoned it. I mean, it's politicians who are telling you it's a special case. Oh, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Carl, what more do you need to know when politicians are saying you don't have to worry, it's a special case? Please, you better hurry. You better run for the hills. I'm doing it anyway. It doesn't mean I'm right. But I want to make sure that I don't get trapped. I mean, think of all the poor souls who just thought they had a simple bank account. Now they find out that they are making a contribution. That's what it's called, Carl, a contribution to the stability of Cyprus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all of these politicians.
Yeah. Rule number one, Jim, they say, is don't lose money. Rule number two is look back at rule number one. Finally, you're
well, rule number three is don't trust the politicians. Don't trust any government, Carl. If you're going to listen to governments, you're going to go bankrupt very quickly.
Finally, Jim, I know one of your other areas of focus is ag. Can you be a little more specific?
Well, agriculture has been a disaster. We produced less than we've consumed for 10 years now, which means inventories are near historic lows. We've got very low inventories. We're running out of farmers. The average age of farmers in America is 58. In Japan, it's 66. I mean, farming's been a disaster for 30 years. Prices have to go much higher. Maybe not this year, but certainly this decade, or we're not going to have any food at any price, Carl. There aren't enough. You know anybody who became a farmer? Probably not.
They're making a lot fewer of them in this country, at least, that's for sure. And we just got a taste of it with that drought not too long ago. Jim, have a great time in Chile, I believe is where you are. And thanks for coming to the phone. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Carl. Bye-bye.
Jim Rogers, chairman of Rogers Holdings.